Hello beloveds, my name is Evonne from Embody Mother and welcome to the cycle report for the 31st of March 2019. I come to you from Dja Dja Wurrung country in Central Highlands, Victoria, Australia in the Southern Hemisphere. So we are 1 week past Autumn Equinox, so 1 week past Mabon, and it's really getting cold here on the land. We're harvesting our pumpkins and we are moving into a deep descent. So there's 6 weeks between each Sabbath, each point in the wheel, and so we are 5 weeks now away from Samhain or Halloween here in the Southern Hemisphere, which comes in at April 30th or May 6th, which is the astrological alignment, I guess, of where we're at in the Earth cycle. And with that, we are under a Balsamic Moon. So last week, I sort of started touching on this point in the cycle where, and I was talking about the menstrual cycle, how things, can get a bit scratchy. And, I think where the moon is at the moment and my own personal cycle, so I'm day 27, so right on that cusp of coming into my bleeding phase of my cycle. And I started touching on how when we start a cycle at the start of the cycle and how it is then, and I use the analogy of using the vacuum cleaner and how you're vacuuming and you start the cycle and everything's okay and you're yep, I'm happy to do this, and you come up to the top of the cycle and you're going, yep, full of energy, I'm doing it, I'm just powering through, and by the end of the cycle you're just going, why am I the only one doing this, the vacuuming, and that's pissing me off and that's pissing me off. And because we didn't speak our truth at the beginning of the cycle, it's come down to this point where we are very, there's a lot of frustration and anger that can build up. The patriarchal culture would call it PMS, which they pathologize this part in the cycle, that bit. So we're under a Balsamic Moon, which is also equivalent to, the day from 20 onwards in your menstrual cycle as well. So I really want to talk about that part of the phase, which is the death and the dying and the extraction of what we can't take with us into the death, into the deep, the dark moon, new moon, or bleeding, non-bleeding, the deep winter. You don't want to be sitting in those spaces with carrying all this stuff. So it's got to come out at this point. And what really came to me throughout the week, just speaking what we spoke about it was only Tuesday I'd done the last cycle report, was the Banshee. So the Banshee is a Celtic and so an Irish and Scottish mythology, where the Banshee would come down and screech and scream and cry and extract all that emotion around death. And so with the Banshee, it's how when we think about the Banshee, it's really, again, pathologized in our culture that, to be vocal and to be, say, how you feel, and if you're angry or whatever, how that is looked upon as, well, we look to shut that part of ourselves down, or our culture shuts that part of that down. And so what happens then when we are shutting down the Banshee in this part of the cycle, that you just take that with you into descent, and then that's what you start with at the beginning of the next cycle. And again, going around the cycle with a Banshee energy, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And if it's not let go and if it's not expressed in a way that is healthy, it starts to come out in really unhealthy ways through projection, firing off at other people who haven't done anything, or, just really unhealthy ways. And if we're not being vocal, it becomes internal. So, whether it's internal dialogue, which leads into illness, and I really believe that, that's the cancers that we're holding, is just really unexpressed emotions, anxiety, all that starts to build up. So just how important, you know, that to get to this part of the cycle and to go, oh, yep, you know, I'm not happy about this, so I've got to speak my truth, and that's okay because it's my truth, and, you know, you don't have to take it on board, but this is how I feel, and, you know, do it in a really healthy way. Otherwise, the Banshee comes out, and if it doesn't come out, you know, it just travels with us and it keeps going on around the cycle. So, you know, this is a really, really, really good time to release all that no longer serves. So under this, you know, so the dark moon, new moon comes in on Friday, this coming Friday it's like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, which is Australian Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, just how important for the next coming week is to really, you know, sit in, what do I need to let go of that I don't want to take in to the deep darkness, and being a harvest part of the cycle. So, and especially now that it's getting cold, those, you know, those black moons, those dark moons in this part of the descent are going to start to feel much heavier than they did in spring, although that was pretty big as well. But it will feel more potent because, you know, it's cold. It's a really inner space to be in this cold weather. You know, everybody's inside, and, you know, the heat, you know, it's just the needing to, you know, it becomes a lot more internal than it would be in the summer when we're seeing lots more people and the energy's high and there's lots of things going on to distract us from what we need to look at. Yeah. So anyway, that is that part of the moon, so a balsamic moon, and I'm day 27, which, you know, is quite aligned with the moon cycle. So the reflection questions for this week are, what are you letting go of under this dark moon descent? And where have you in your life has the Banshee shown up? So what are you letting go of under this dark moon? And has the Banshee ever showed up in your life, and what was happening around that time and what was happening for you? I think the Banshee needs to be spoken to. So if it's coming up for me, I'm sure somewhere out there it's coming up for other people too. So that is that. I just wanted to also talk to, I am holding an online circle on this coming Monday, once every month until August. And we will journey the descent in and the start of the ascent together. So that's open to 15 women who would like to join me online, and it will start at 8 o'clock on Monday. The details and the links and the tickets will be down underneath in the details of this YouTube clip. And also I'm available for shamanic processing, practicing. So going through shamanic processes for deep transformation. So I'm really looking forward to working with anybody who is looking for deep transformation, and I'll take you through some amazing shamanic practices taught by me through the School of Shamanic Womancraft and some other things that I've gathered along the way. Yeah, so I look forward to working with whoever wants to do this work in a deep dive way. So, from my heart to your heart, under this balsamic harvest moon, I wish you so much love, and may you feel deeply held and deeply loved, which you really truly are, as we move into this dark moon descent time. Thank you for watching. So much love.